that piece was, as I say, my first magazine piece. I was working for the New York Herald Tribune. There was a strike, which had lasted 4 months, and so I had to start doing some freelancing. That strike was the best thing that ever happened to me because it forced me to start writing at greater length. So I went to the Herald Tribune, or to Esquire, and I sold them on the idea of a piece about customized cars in California. And they sent me out there, put me up in the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, and where when you arrived there's a basket of fruit and a split of champagne on your on the table, and that was a grand life. And I ran up about a $6,000 bill in the course of a month in this hotel. And I came back and I couldn't write this story. I was absolutely blocked. I now realized that all writer's blocks are nothing but fear. It's either fear that you can't do it, or fear that if you do it, it isn't worth doing in the first place. I mean, that's also a real fear often. Anyway, I couldn't do the thing. And so Byron Dobell, who was then the managing editor of Esquire, called me up and said, we got to have the piece. We have $10,000 worth of plates, color plates of these goddamn machines that you're supposed to be writing about, these customized cars, on the presses. And I said, well, I just can't do it. I'm blocked. And he says, well, look, just type up your notes, and we'll give them to a competent writer to put into some sort of shape. And I wouldn't have done the humiliating thing of typing up the notes, except that I had run up to $6,000 at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, and I felt so guilty. I said, I can't. Maybe they'll make me pay back the $6,000. So I, with a heavy heart, 8 o'clock one night, I sat down and began typing the notes. And I remember it began, it was in the form of a memo to Byron Dobell. It said, Dear Byron, the first place I saw customized cars was at a teen fair in North Hollywood, California. It was done in a very flat, straight-out way. And I began describing step by step what I had seen in my reporting. And I was typing at absolutely top speed in order to get it over with. And it was to just one person, so I had no self-consciousness about other people looking over my shoulder. And I ended up writing 48 pages that night on the typewriter. I turned it, brought it over to Esquire about 9 in the morning, and then went home to bed and got a call that afternoon from Byron Dobell saying, we're knocking the Dear Byron off the top of your memo, and we're running the piece in the magazine. Well, that was really my start in magazine writing. And many people go through this without knowing it when they write letters to friends. And I think all of us have known people who are great letter writers and can just leave you in stitches, and they're great stylists, and they have a flow and a rhythm and everything else. The same person is assigned a paper in a classroom, or just assigned to write an article for a newspaper, and this person will freeze up, because I think when it's going to be for a larger audience, you start thinking of all the teachers who may be looking over your shoulder, classmates, other writers, whoever it may be, whose opinion intimidates you, and people stiffen up. When I read things by students sometimes, I cannot, for the life of me, comprehend where they have picked up some of the habits, some of the stilted, over-formal, passive constructions that we'll get into, because they don't, I'm sure they don't write that way in letters, and I'm sure they don't talk that way. And they're not taught this either. You're not taught, I don't think anyone any longer teaches people over-formal prose. Nevertheless, it comes in almost like politeness into written language.